went through each jungle deep for the paradise that we'd to see. There's no trip for the weak. We're waltzing with the natives. Na 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 na.
Hello people, how are you all doing? Welcome back to the Celtic Corner. Corrie, we picked a great weekend to start a Celtic podcast, didn't
Shambles, mate. Absolute shambles, man.
we? So anybody who watched the show yesterday, we were done our debut show and we were talking about how the Celtic game was today. We were hoping that Hearts and Rangers would drop points, but they didn't. Hearts got a late victory against Dundee with a McEntee header. And then last night, Rangers comfortably beat Aberdeen 4-1. So then we go to Tannadice today, full of hope, full of confidence, hoping to push on the title race, but unfortunately it was not to be. It was a very, very poor performance. First of all, before we get into Corrie, I just want to mention one thing, and you know, people will look at this and go, "You're making excuses, right?" The fact being is, if that's the level of pitch though that we're being offered in Scotland in 2026 at the top flight, then it's absolutely ridiculous. Regardless of if Celtic had won 5-6-0 today, I'd have been saying that. The pitch was an absolute disgrace today. Shocking. It was like a cricket pitch. The ball was bouncing everywhere. Players who are usually technically good in the ball were shocking. It was just a really, really bad pitch. Before we get into the game, mate, what do you make of that pitch in this country in 2026?
Aye, the pitch was atrocious. You can't deny that. They kept mentioning it on Sky Sports. It looked terrible. Even the first 5-10 minutes of the game, you kind of realise that it's not going to be the game for technical players, the technical ability players, the good ones like Negrin and even the wingers. They looked a wee bit uncomfortable with it. But I might be one of the ones, Jamie. That's an excuse for me.
Well, like I say though, I'd have been saying that if we'd have won 5-6-0. I just think the
Aye.
pitch is shocking. I mean, you could visibly see the ball wasn't going properly, you know. But I agree, you know, it's no excuse. It is no excuse for Celtic players not to be able to control the ball and, you know, dictate the play and stuff like that. But anyway, but I just wanted to get it out of my chest because I thought that was absolutely shocking. When it comes to the starting lineup, you sent me the starting lineup in the group chat, and I thought that's decent. You know what I mean? That's a quite comfortable one. We spoke about on yesterday's show how Iheanacho, we'd have both started with him, hoping he was back. But I thought he was pretty poor in the first half, Corey. And you know, to be honest with you, don't think we really offered much in the first half whatsoever.
No, I said it to you again. I was like, that was probably one of the worst games of football I've seen in the first half. I was getting excuses. I was saying maybe it's taking a wee while for the players to get used to the pitch because the Dundee United players, they look like they didn't look comfortable on the pitch. But the first half especially, I just thought there's nothing there, nothing for Celtic. There was no movement that was worthwhile. There wasn't really anything threatening. I was getting to the point I was just getting, let's get to half time and hopefully rejig a few things. And that was like the 20th minute. I felt like we were just really poor. And it just wasn't their day for the get go, I feel.
Iheanacho in the first half when he was through and goal, we kind of had a shot, good save for the keeper, didn't he, with his left foot and that. But apart from that, I can't really remember too many chances Celtic created. And you can't put that down to the pitch. That's just players
No.
not performing at the level that they should be performing to. But I mean, I just feel that Dundee United were first to every second ball and stuff like that as well, sorry. And I thought that they created more of a threat in the first half, to be honest with you. Even though Celtic had most of the possession, I thought that Dundee United had a better opportunity throughout the match. Would you agree with that?
I would say so. It's what I've been saying about Celtic for the majority of the season. There's the determination, the dig, they just 50-50s going in for it. They just seemed so lax. Sorry, we'll eventually we'll eventually get a goal, we'll eventually win the game. But not putting in the hard graft to win the games, and that was a game today kind of personified it. I felt like Dundee United obviously they're not more talented than Celtic, but they've had a wee bit more bit between their teeth, bit of determination. Like you said, they were getting to every second ball. Celtic were nowhere near it, and I feel that's what's partly down where we are in the league table now. We're 4 points behind, 7 games ago. It's doable, but I can still see us putting in performances like that in the next 7 games.
It's 5 points behind now, is it not?
I thought it
Because
was four.
no, it was two, wasn't it? And now they won, so it's five.
Oh fuck that! There you go. Made it worse. Fight. They're still doable,
Aye.
but I still see us doing the types of performances. Just we can go 2, 3 games playing well. Like look at the game last week compared to this week. It's fucking night and day, and it shouldn't be. It wasn't too many changes. It was actually more positive changes that had been made. We actually had an out and out striker. We had a captain back, and it looked like it just derailed everything. We looked like we were back to just struggling. They were struggling. I would say the key word for me in this game was adaptability. We couldn't adapt to the pitch. We couldn't adapt to Dundee United actually just wanting it more. We couldn't. We didn't have a plan B because our plan A didn't work. Don't have a plan B and just hope for the best. That's what it felt like, and it was just didn't work out for us.
Aye, no, I agree. I mean, I don't think that Celtic were good at all today. And you mentioned Callum McGregor being back in there. I thought he was really poor today. I thought every kind of pass he was giving to everybody was, very, very suspect. Hospital passes, as we call them. And when it comes to the first goal for Celtic, for Dundee United, sorry, I thought that McGregor caused the problem where he passed to Rio Hatate, who I thought was really poor the day and all, to be honest with you. I didn't think he was. I think he looked back to his old self again, unfortunately. But I mean, Callum McGregor, whether that's just due to fitness or he's still carrying that injury, but he wants back in the team or whatever, it shouldn't have happened. I thought he was poor. But let's get to the second half, mate, because there was nothing really to talk about in the first half, to be honest with you. There was no much. But Dundee United's first goal, for me, like I say, McGregor gives the ball away, and then after that, the ball comes across, and Kobe Donovan is just nowhere to be seen. He's ball watching. He comes in far too much into the box, and he leaves Will Ferry at the back post to tap it in. What did you make of that first goal defensively?
I did. I thought that there was a few people that were ball watching. Um, I feel like sometimes, see, when it comes to man marking, they're like, well, I had my man. Sometimes you just need to look. If the ball's going away and you can see the player that's meant to be marking them close to him, do a swap. Do a swap. You go. I'll go get that guy. You stay here then. If you don't want to go and get that boy, it's wee things like that. It's daft. It's schoolboy, and I felt the first goal. The first goal especially because I think the second goal was just a cracking strike. Could have been dealt with, but the first goal especially, it's just schoolboy errors that have happened 3 quarters of this season. I feel like we've just let them into our game more and more often than we really should be.
You say it's a cracking strike, that second goal, mate. I mean, it was all right, but like, I'm just looking at it from a Celtic point of view. Rio Hatate on the far side, which, by the way, I want to talk about. Let's just talk about that before we talk about the goal. Was Martin O'Neill has got questions to answer for me today. Now, as much as I love the guy, he's done brilliant since he's came in. He has changed the team, and he's obviously a top level manager and a top level guy, right? But what the hell was going through his mind today to put Rio Hatate right back? They 10, 15 minutes Rio Hatate played right back was absolutely ridiculous today. He couldn't control the ball. He can't defend. He can't pass the ball, particularly when he's in that position. He's bad enough in his own position. That was a horrible, horrible decision today to put him over there, in my opinion. And then, he takes him off and um, he brings on Luke McCowan, and then he puts Yang at right back, and you're like, what are you doing? Tony Ralston's sitting there.
No.
I don't believe that Tony Ralston is worse than Rio Hatate and fucking Yang at right back. I'm not having this, man. I don't know what the story is, why he decided to do that, whether it's a shape thing or whatever, but I mean, to forget Tony Ralston and bring on the two guys and put them on at the right back was horrendous. Yang and all can't control the ball. They're no right backs. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
So, I mean, that second goal, mate, the boy takes him on. Hatate just goes to ground. It's just so easy to get by him. The ball comes into the box. The I think it was Vaughters that hits the shot. It was blocked well, and then it comes out to Fata and he scores the goal. But it should never have came to that. It should never have came to that position where he was even, and that it was Rio Hatate's fault in the right back position, in my opinion.
No, that's what I was saying earlier. It could have been dealt with well before it actually happened. The Kobe Donovan getting an injury, fair enough. It just looks like one of the things he had to jump over an advertising board. I wouldn't think it's going to be anything major, but I'm not the Tony Ralston's biggest fan, as you know. But I feel like if you're going to replace a right back has to come on. You don't rejig it and put a centre mid in there or a right wing in there. Fair enough, Yang was alright with Nonsi when he was a right wing back, but that wasn't his position. He was just doing what he had to do. And fair play to him, he would try it, but it's just no their positions. And I thought it was quite wild when you seen it on the TV, you seen Ralston like getting the top and all that. When Donovan went off, I thought to myself, right, that's clear and obvious swap. Then after you seen McCowan coming on, I'm like, what's happening here? Well, what's going on? It was the same as yours, just a wee bit. What was the thinking behind that? Like, why did you not just put Tony Ralston on? Just say, look, McCowan, you're coming on in the next 5 minutes. It doesn't need to be because you've said, look, McCowan's going on. He has to come on. You can change it. There is things to change. And I felt like Celtic didn't do enough changes, in my opinion, to do anything in that game.
I thought the substitutions were really, really bizarre. And even bringing Nigrin off when you're trying to get goals. So we spoke about this other day and all. I don't get why you're taking Nigrin off. He's pretty much the only goal scorer in our team. And I thought he actually done okay today, Nigrin. You know what I mean? For having like very little opportunities. Celtic had. I thought he get involved in the game a lot more than he usually does, without scoring the goal. But I mean, Tannadice when he came on as well. Not good enough. Not good enough. I know that again. I'll go back to the pitch. I just don't think that that's good enough. But I mean, when you're when you're the defending team on that kind of pitch, it probably benefits you because you're not there to be technical. You're not there to kind of pass the ball about and spread the play and stuff. You're there to stop the opposition from scoring and then try to score in the counter attack. And that's exactly what Dundee United done. So that pitch definitely did benefit them today. And again, it's not an excuse. It's just how I see the game. You know what I mean? I don't. It's not an excuse because Celtic should have won the game. Celtic had better players and they should have done better. So it's not an excuse. But I'm just saying that definitely went in Dundee United's favour today. Thought Sinisalo for both of the goals, mate, was pretty weak, to be honest. I thought he went down far too early for the first goal. It kind of came off Donovan a wee bit. But he should have. As Chris Sutton says in commentary, he gambled. He went down far too early. The ball went over him, and then the second goal, it was a decent enough strike, mate. But I don't know, man. I thought he could have got down quicker, and I thought he could have got there. To be honest with you.
I thought with the second one, he goes through, scales his legs, so I don't know if he sees it late enough that I get what you were saying, but I think the first one, maybe the touch with Donovan fucked him a wee bit because he did get a fingertip to it. Obviously, didn't do anything, but I think if Donovan's hand wasn't there, he may have got a better hand on it. Like Sinisalo would have got a better hand on it to get a save. But like you were saying earlier on, the Celtic's got better players, but it's just they're not performing. They're not performing to show that we are champions. We were we were the champions. We're going to be champions again. They've not got that swagger anymore. Don't know what it is. I don't know if it's players there who want to move, players there who just aren't good enough, a mixture of the two.
Mixture.
But probably is a mixture, but it's like that's our own doing. We're keeping people because we're keeping people that clearly don't want to be here. They must have told the club they don't want to be here and want to move on. Celtic's clearly not done their due diligence with him, and Celtic's not done their due diligence with the players coming in because they're not good enough. So I feel like this is our own doing, and I get why people are having a go at the board because I've seen it at the end because they're not doing their job properly. But I feel the Celtic man, I know what like you're saying, Martin O'Neill's done an amazing job coming in, getting us close getting the points, get closer to Hearts, but still not doing enough to do like win as a league or get us anywhere closer. We've got further behind now, and the players are nowhere near good enough to win a title. I get what you're saying; they're better players, but they're just not performing to that level. So it doesn't matter how well they are, how good they are, they play with their country, how much they cost. That means fuck all if you're not going to go out there and do the bare basics in the game. And I feel like Celtic have been struggling with just the bare basics. And I get we were talking about it yesterday. There's always that clusterfuck with Brendan Rodgers and Martin O'Neill, then Nancy, then Martin O'Neill again. But see, when you think about it, with any of the managers, they still struggled with the bare basics. They still struggled with the passing. The midfield was always away. There was always non-existent. We haven't had a proven or clear-cut striker all season. Our defence have been ropey, and the goalkeeping situation has now got slightly better, but it's still not great. So there's always had the problems, and I think that's our own doing.
I agree completely, mate. I agree completely. I was actually thinking during the match, like, we don't deserve to win this league. We don't. I
Yeah.
mean, Celtic have been horrible all year.
Mhm.
Every single game, even under Martin O'Neill since he's came back, and it's always been good to go 1-0 down. And like even last week when we played well, we went 1-0 down, and then you have to fight back again. You have to fight back and get the goals and stuff. And we've never really. I think we beat Falkirk at 4-0 at Parkhead a few months ago. I think
Yeah.
that's about been the only convincing performance in pretty
Dundee
much all year, to
United
be
as
honest.
well. Dundee United as well. We bet them 4-0 when Martin O'Neill came back.
Mm-hmm.
But that
But
goes to show like the consistency, and I don't really want to question our mentality because there's loads of players that have been there and done it, but there has to be something. So, and it's the only thing I can really come to mind is that is our mentality gone? Maybe because they're not good enough and they kind of know, or they don't want to be here, so they're not really caring. So something has to be questioned because we can play them off the pitch at Parkhead, then we can't beat them at Tannadice twice for the first time since '91. I wasn't even alive the first time. The last time Dundee United beat us twice at Tannadice. So it just goes to show you there's major issues. I feel if we win the league, Hearts and Rangers need to press the self destruct button simultaneously. I think because, like you said, we don't deserve to win the league the way we're playing, and I don't think any Celtic fan can turn around and say, "Aye," but that's there's no argument anymore because the only argument I used to accept was there's players that have been there and done it, but the players that have been there and done it aren't doing it anymore. I know we've still got a couple of games to go in the split and all that stuff, but every single game we've needed to win, I think, to get a good chance to win the league, and we've fucked up the first of the 8 games that we needed.
I'm not going to lie, mate, and this might come back to bite me in the arse, but I think Celtic are now out the title race. I'm not going to lie, I think it is it done. I think that Celtic, there was no margin for error, unlike Hearts, who have got margin for error like they done last week, and they had that margin error, and now they're still 5 points clear. I don't think Celtic have got. I don't think they had any room for it, and I think today was a disaster of performance. I are you confident they'll beat Rangers at home? Are you confident they'll beat Hearts? Are you confident we'll beat anybody? Motherwell?
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
it's
Going forward and stuff. That's the thing. It's like, all right, okay, we might be in it mathematically and that, but I still don't see how we don't
yeah.
drop points. I know that people say Rangers and Hearts will drop points as well, but Hearts are in the driving seat now. They've got 5 points clear. That is them clear in front of Celtic. So I don't know. I just think that Celtic are now. I think they've dropped out the title race, in my opinion. I hate to say it, but that's just how I feel.
I think so. I have hate to admit it, but I thought it months ago. I thought it months ago because I just didn't see where it was coming from, and I think the more and more it's went on, I think more and more people are probably seeing it the way that I probably seen it. I'm not saying happy or glory like I fucking called it. I didn't want to call it. I wanted Celtic to turn it around, start beating teams 3-4-0. I didn't want that to happen, but I didn't see any way it was going to change. I hoped January we were going to get some players in to maybe change it. I thought Oxlade Chamberlain was going to be that guy, it doesn't really seem it. The rest of the players we've got in aren't good enough, so that's not filled me with any confidence. And like you said, and all, like, I don't have any confidence we would beat Hearts. Not the way we're playing. Rangers, it's a different kettle of fish. They might be up for the games, but it's games against Motherwell, Hibs. That's the games that I fear the most, because there might be games that we might go in their lap. Exactly what we've seen today. They might be the exact same thing.
Exactly. And
And that,
after the day's performance, though, after the day's performance, there was already no room for error. Now there is
no.
absolutely, you can't drop any points whatsoever, and it's
Uh,
just not going to happen.
uh,
It's done for Celtic. Celtic aren't going to win the league at this point. That was the end of their title race today, in my opinion. And you can watch this and go, I'm talking all this shite and I'm being fucking negative and that. That's just how I feel. I feel that 5 points with 7 games to go and Hearts in a position. They've still got Livingston. They've got a Livingston, in 2 weeks' time and stuff. And for me, the Celtic league is over and they'll be handing it over to Rangers or Hearts this season. You mentioned earlier about is there a mixture of players that don't want to be there and players who aren't good enough? I definitely think it's a mixture of that. I've said that Luke McCowan, Rio Hitati, Anthony Ralston, who didn't obviously get a game today, but Liam Scales, you could name a number of other ones. Even
aye.
Yang, you know what I mean? Even Yang, mate. You know what I mean? He's a decent enough player for Celtic and that, but he's no like. Can you put Yang in the same bracket as Jota? Can you put him in the same bracket as Kuhn? Can you put him in the same bracket as Maida at the end of last season? Can you put him in the same bracket as Abada? You
Mm.
can't, man. He's no in the brackets. He doesn't do it consistently enough for Celtic. And when it comes to guys who just don't want to be there. Again, Hitati, I get Maida. Maida I thought was absolutely shambolic again today. And it seems to be this thing that Martin O'Neill does. One of my mates said it in the group chat that after an hour, after 60 minutes, it seems that Martin O'Neill brings off either a winger or a striker and puts Maida in the middle.
Mm.
And then that works for like 10, 15 minutes, and then he'll bring Maida off. And that's exactly what happened today again. Maida was playing left wing. He takes off Nacho, puts Maida in the middle, and then after like 10, 15 minutes, he brings on Adamu and takes on Maida. He takes off Maida, and you're like, this seems to be the reoccurring theme here that you're doing. Do you know what I mean? And I don't know. It's like it's not working. Maida's just no up to it anymore. I don't think it's a case of he's no trying like a lot of people do. I think it's just a case of his head has been turned and he's thinking about next year. That's what I think with Maida's happening, and it's taking his focus off his football. He's not performing at the level that we know he can perform at
Mhm.
and stuff like that. I thought that Liam Scales was shocking today. I thought that he was getting the ball away constantly. He wasn't in the right position. That first half, for instance, right, where the ball gets played through and Liam Scales could have just cleared it with his left foot and he decides to let the ball roll through and Dundee United get a free kick just outside the box.
Aye.
And you're like, if
Aye.
that's a proper defender, man, you just clear that. You just clear that away. You know what I mean? And I just feel that guys like him aren't good enough and they could go down the line. You know what I mean? You really could go down the line. And McGregor, again, he's just back for injury. But if Celtic are playing well, McGregor's playing well. But aye, there's just too many passengers in the team. There's too many players that just don't want to be there and stuff. And that is pretty worrying, mate, to be honest with
Aye.
you. Where do we
Just
go
what
from here?
you,
But you know what I mean?
just what you were saying about like the substitutes that Martin O'Neill makes, it's always the same. He's inherited and got in players that are probably nowhere near his standard. I mean, because look at the teams he did have. He went for high quality, but high performance players, and after he's got basically a team who don't, half of them don't want to be there, and the other half, like Luke McCowan, like Anthony Ralston, who are nowhere near good enough. So to see the fact that he's even got as close, he's worked miracles. I feel like it will never dent his legacy or anything like that this season. I think everybody is on the same boat as like Martin O'Neill's been sold some sort of dream. And I'll be like, oh, we'll help you out in January and all that sort of stuff. They haven't. And they're like, aye, but go out there, you can still win the league. It's just, it's
No, I think
amateurish, I feel. It's safe for a club like Celtic, like you said, we've got the best finances, we're meant to have the best players, we've got everything that any club in that league would kill for, and we've still somehow found a way to embarrass ourselves, because this is embarrassing, because I've never agreed with the fact like, oh, because we've got more money, we've got better players, we should be stealing that league. I think sometimes you win some, you lose some, but this is different because we're shooting ourselves in the foot time and time again. We're embarrassing ourselves time and time again, and it's us, me, you, the fans that were at Dundee United, the other thousand millions of fans that are watching around the world. They're the ones that are going to pay for it, but there's some cunts that just don't care. They just don't care. I'm ready to go on another rant about the fucking board and all that again.
Well, they were certainly getting pelters in the end there, but weren't they? But I
I
mean,
and I understand it and I get it, because I know like it's not like a living a reef type of thing. Like I spend £700 a year on a seat just to be at Celtic Park, and I feel like I'm not getting my money's worth. I feel like I'm getting let down by the team that I'm meant to support time and time again, especially this season, because I'm just like, you have to fix it, and it seems like the players aren't willing to fix it or able to fix it. The manager's chopping, changing every couple of months. We've got Martin O'Neill for a bit of stability, but there's only so much he can do with the shite we've got. The board are doing absolute fuck all. They're just sitting on their hands, hoping it'll turn out all right. And the fans are just in the dark about everything. They don't know what's going on in the club. We don't. We just don't know, and we've ended up fighting amongst each other. People are against the Green Brigade. Some people are for the Green Brigade, and they're all arguing with each other. This is a shambles, man. And there's not one person that'll hold accountability, but it should be every single person in that club hold accountability. It's fucking shambles.
no, I mean you're right. It's a whole collective kind of disaster this season. But see, go
Sorry, I
back to
went
your
on a
earlier
big
point.
rant there.
No,
Sorry,
no,
that
that's fine. That's fine. I agree with you. You know what I mean? But like, to go back to your earlier point about Martin O'Neill being sold a dream and all that, I think that's load of bollocks that people are saying. I mean, personally, right, the guy came in and he asked to do a job. When Brendan Rodgers left, he got asked to do a job for a couple of games. You know, as a Celtic fan, ex-Celtic manager, he's no knocking that back, right? He felt he was capable of doing it. He came in, he done a brilliant job, got us through to a semi-final, got us through to a final, sorry, of a cup. All the rest of it. So he was probably looking at that teammate and going, you know what, we have got the best players in this country. All right, it's no the team that I inherited when, like back in the day. It's not the team I wanted. You know, I've not got Sutton, I've not got Larsson, I've not got Hartson. All that's right, but you know, he probably feels that we, like I feel and like you feel, that we have got the best players in the league. But you know, he's not getting. It's not happening. He knows that they're still no good enough for the club. It's not as if he was sold a dream, and I don't believe he was told you'll get 20 million, 30 million in January. I just believe he was told we'll look for available players in January and we'll see what we can do for you. And the players that Celtic have brought in January have been hopeless. You know, Svi Chara and Vuku,
And Damu.
Damu, they're just not up to it, these guys at all. So I mean, you've got to look at Martin O'Neill for that as well. He's okayed these players, and it's just not happened. But um, what was the other point I was going to make? The other point I was going to make was, you know, we talk about impact players with Tannadice and Oxley Chamberlain and stuff, right? And people can say, and I'd agree with him, Oxley Chamberlain, when he came on today, I thought he was really poor. He gave the ball away constantly, right? But, I mean, he's in a position when he's coming on the park, same with Tannadice, same with Luke McCowan, all these guys, they're coming on the park and they're trying to force the issue. Do you know what I mean? They're trying to force the issue because we're so far behind. We're 2-0 behind when these guys are coming on the park. So they're trying to force it and, you know, create chances and stuff. Whereas they would maybe not be as, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? They'd maybe not be as advanced and try these things if, you know, Celtic are winning 2-3-0. You know what I mean? They just kind of play their normal game and but when you're under pressure and you're trying to score goals and it's hard for these guys to do it every week. I mean, they've already done it. You know what I mean? When Oxley Chamberlain, we spoke about it yesterday, when Oxley Chamberlain and Tannadice came on against Kilmarnock, they done it. We ended up winning that match 3 behind. It happened that day. You know, against Rangers, they came on, they done really well in the first game. But like, and Elsley Chamber done really well in the second game, but it can't happen every single time, and that's the thing. The guys at Martin O'Neill are starting, they're just no doing the job for the club, and then you've got these guys who like Tannadice, Oxley Chamberlain, McCowan, who are under pressure every single time they come on the park. Do you know what I mean? So it's easy to judge these guys. It's easy to see because there will be people out there that go Oxley Chamberlain's past it, and he's not. But for what I've seen, like Oxley Chamberlain done a lovely wee turn the day, and he cut inside, and then he tried to get it to connect, but it was just far too much on it, and it went for a corner. But I'm like, that's him trying to get the ball to connect, trying to force the issue, trying to get the ball across, and it just didn't work because you know. He's trying too hard. Basically, they're trying too hard because they need to. Because the guys who are starting the games aren't doing it for Celtic. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm. But that's like a pressure thing that I've said before. Like us and Rangers, our expectations are high, our pressure is high, so you have to deal with that. Like, say if you can't start a game and perform to the highest level possible, you're not going to do well in Celtic. If you're going to come off the bench and not perform to the highest ability, you're not going to do well at Celtic. And that's why the criticisms sometimes, like you're saying, Oxley Chamberlain, oh, he's past it, or Taneke, he's not that good. They do become a bit extreme in a way because our expectations and our standards are so high. And it's just that's why I felt that I'm being like Celtic are embarrassing themselves and I'm feeling let down as a supporter is because we do know the capabilities of these players. We do know the standards that are set for ourselves, and it's just something's going off. And on the thing of Luke McCown, every time I watch him, he's every bit of a Dundee player. But I think we only and it annoys me. And I've said it to you before. Sometimes we sign players for the sheer fact they're Scottish, so it helps the quota. A Celtic fan, so they can. Oh, that's us. We've got one of our own type of thing. Or they're Irish, just to go into that fucking stereotype bandwagon type of thing. And we got them there. Scottish, Luke McCown, Celtic fan, Ralston, Irish, Liam Scales, three of them aren't good enough.
I agree, but I mean, it's just all over the park though, and I know what you're
I know
saying about.
I'm just and I know it's all over the pitch, but
I know, but like you're saying about Luke McCowan, as a bit of Dundee player, but you could easily say Bernardo's a Dundee player these days. Hatate's a Dundee player these days. So
I was just because we mentioned him a
I know.
couple of times. That was just the first one that came in my head. But it's just like what is it the Jockstein quote is? It's like it doesn't shrink to inferior players. Fucking fill out that jersey, then go out there and fucking prove that you're a Celtic player. Every bit of a Celtic player, maybe even better than a Celtic player. Go out there and prove it. You have to prove every single week because the teams that like Dundee United, like Livingston, like Falkirk, this is their cup finals. They up their game when it comes to Celtic and Rangers. So if you can't handle the pressure off them, your career's fucked with Celtic pretty much. That's what I always think. You need to deal with the mental side of the game a lot more playing with Celtic, I feel. And that I think a lot of them aren't capable of it now.
You're right, and then you were saying earlier about the collective, just being collective, this downfall, this fall off the cliff for Celtic. It's absolutely true. Compare it where we were under Ange, and
Mm-hmm.
we were flying. We had loads of good players. Like, we're going to Europe, man. We could actually do something here, and Brendan Rodgers in his last season, at Celtic gave up. Fell out with the board, gave up. The board fell out with him. The both of them are a disgrace. Now Brendan Rodgers away dancing out in Saudi with all his millions in the dressing rooms, and he's loving life. Whereas he gave up at Celtic, in my opinion. So Brendan Rodgers is a big part to play in this. I'll never understand any Celtic fan that condone how he left the club. I mean, all right, he did do well for Celtic. He was a brilliant manager in his first stint here when he actually wanted to be here. Um, but as soon as he left for Leicester, and then he came back again, and he's got a big part to play. The board have got a big part to play. I've seen all the Celtic fans shouting and bawling at them at the very end, which was absolutely correct. Michael Nicholson and all the rest of them just standing there looking ahead. You know,
It's
they
that as
they
well. It's I think you mentioned it when it was the AGM. They're not treating Celtic fans like adults or even like human, but they treat them like children. I get that people were saying, "Oh, you shouldn't have been going about in the AGM where like sack the board banners and all that sort of stuff. But they're not listening as regardless anyway. And I feel that the way they've treated Celtic fans, especially this season, they're treating them like mugs. And I think that on the point you were saying about Brendan Rodgers, I think just a lot of people are. Brendan Rodgers have came out with a couple of stuff that's came through, and they're just like, oh, he knew, and kind of sung up his arse a wee bit, which I can kind of get, but it wouldn't be me because twice he's went on his word. So now I wouldn't like to see the man come back to Celtic ever again, to be perfectly honest. And I just think it's the collective thing. The players they need it's a massive shake up in the summer, and it's for the top down. And I don't believe it's going to be the top down. I think it'll be like we'll get a new manager, obviously. We're going to get a new set of players, but we need to get rid of a lot of players. I don't think we'll get rid of them all in the summer, but do need to get rid of a lot of players. Players that don't want to be there. Players aren't good enough. Vice versa, all the same. But I do feel with Mickelson, Lowell, no, not Lowell, he's gone now, but Nicholson and the rest of the board, they need to take a look at themselves and say, did we fuck up as well? And if they say no, the only way we can get them out is to vote them out. And I see Millie Hockey is trying to start something. Don't know how well that's going, but I think that's the only way we can do it. We have to buy more and more shares. And that's the thing Millie Hockey's trying to say. It's like every Celtic fan that signs up for it, I think every 10, I think he's going to put £1 million worth of shares or something like that. Saying something. So I think that's the only way he's going to we're going to be able to get rid of the board.
Aye, well, we'll see how that unfolds, mate. But you know, it's just been a very disappointing day at the office. Very disappointing season so far. I think that we've got to only hope now we go and win the cup. If we don't win the cup, there'll be no silverware this season, and it's all over. But anything else you want to talk about before we end this show, mate?
Not really. Just kind of. We've started a podcast when we were quite optimistic, and the second one we're all doom and gloom. So hopefully the next one we do we're quite cheery.
Don't know how, man. Don't know how.
It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard, but
international break now, so there might not be much to talk about over the next week or so. But
thing in disguise, man.
well, I'm sure we'll be doing podcasts about the next manager, and then that comes up, and you know, the start of next season and stuff, and new players and that. So
that's what it was. Who's your favourite for the Celtic job, or who would you like to take the Celtic job? That's what I was going to ask.
I want to ask you, if you're Murrable, I would take him. I would take probably only him, to be honest, mate.
Did you listen to his interview in Open Goal?
No, I've not seen it.
Mate, see, like I was saying on the off Thunder side, that there was a wee bit of doubt the way I think he would handle the pressure. See, 20 minutes in the interview, I'm sold. So if the Celtic board don't get him, just the way he talks reminds me similar to Ange, because he is thinking more of the bigger picture. He doesn't treat footballers just as footballers. He treats them as people, and he tries to understand everybody in the squad, and just the way he was talking, I'm like, the boy's clued up. I like him.
Good, mate. I would take him. Whether the Celtic board will make the right decision, who knows, mate. I know there's a lot of talk of Robbie Keane, which again might be a bit of nostalgia. Has he done enough to earn it? I don't want Roberto Martinez. I don't care. I really don't. Even if Portugal win and win the World Cup, then maybe I'll change my mind on that. But I mean,
I think you'll be a Celtic manager if it happens.
I don't think so, mate. I don't think he'll be going to Celtic if that happens. But apart with the names that are flying about, mate, I'm not even talking about Knutson anymore. That ship has sailed.
About time you admitted it.
Well, I think it was possible up until this year when we get to so far in the Champions League, and they've got to be absolutely raging the fact they get booted out that Champions League last week. But anyway, I don't think that he'll be coming to Celtic. Kieran McKenna, Ipswich, nah. He's still got a chance of getting back into the Premier League with Ipswich. They're sitting pretty high in the Championship. So apart from that, mate, the names that have been flying about for me, I would only take Askew. What about yourself?
I would say Aska. He's probably the only one. Same again as you. Is just reading the other names. I'm just like, that's nah. That's not good enough. Because we just need I think we need somebody who has got a bit of bottle, and he seems that he's got a bit of bottle in the savvy type of way. If
Mm,
you know what I mean, he's not like more a shouting bowler. He'll have a wee word in somebody's ear and stuff like that. And look, you can even see the way Motherwell are playing. They're playing for him. They've made players who I thought were all right or mediocre, like Paul McGinn, Stephen O'Donnell for two, and he's made them look outstanding.
yeah.
And so I think even if we can't get rid of all the players in the summer, and he's the manager, I would be a wee bit more confident if it would be had like a Luke McCowan or Tony Ralston and he was the manager. He'll get them to play to the best of their abilities, maybe even more so. But I don't know. And what you were saying about Knutson as well, Bodo Glimt going that far in the Champions League, that was what Ross Desmond's whole argument. Like, I remember that it's hard to do that. The last time we done it was 20 odd years ago. Don't forget about that. Bodo Glimt's got fucking nothing compared to us money wise. We just need to be organised. We need to be operating like an actual football club instead of, oh, it's my dad's plaything and it's going to be mine when he dies. That's not a football club. That's, I don't know what the fuck they're playing at, and it's, I don't know. I'm going to just go on a rant again. So
No, it's all good,
let's
mate. It's
leave
all
it.
good. But we'll leave it there, mate, because we've got plenty of time to talk about the next manager and stuff. We've still got this season to try and get back into, which I think is just going to be an uphill task. But thanks everybody for watching. Remember, as it says down there, subscribe for daily Celtic content. So hopefully the next episode we'll have we'll be a wee bit more kind of cheerier. Today's been a bad day, but anyway, hail, Monticello.
Man, sell it.